how do you learn to meditate? In mindfulness meditation, we're learning how to pay attention to the breath as it goes in and out, and notice when the mind wanders from this task. This practice of returning to the breath builds the muscles of attention and mindfulness. When we pay attention to our breath, we are learning how to return to and remain in the present moment, to anchor ourselves in the here and now on purpose without judgment. The idea behind mindfulness seems simple. The practice takes patience. Indeed, renowned meditation teacher Sharon Salzberg recounts that her first experience with meditation showed her how quickly the mind gets caught up in other tasks. I thought, okay, what will it be like 800 breaths before my mind starts to wander? And to my absolute amazement, it was one breath, and I'd be gone, says Salzberg. While meditation isn't a cure-all, it can certainly provide some much-needed space in your life. Sometimes that's all we need to make better choices for ourselves, our families, and our communities. And the most important tools you can bring with you to your meditation practice are a little patience, some kindness for yourself, and a comfortable place to sit. When we meditate, we inject far-reaching and long-lasting benefits into our lives. And bonus, you don't need any extra gear or an expensive membership. Meditation is no more complicated than what we've described above. It is that simple and that challenging. It's also powerful and worth it. The key is to commit to sit every day, even if it's for 5 minutes. Meditation teacher Sharon Salzberg says, "One of my meditation teachers said that the most important moment in your meditation practice is the moment you sit down to do it. Because right then you're saying to yourself that you believe in change, you believe in caring for yourself, and you're making it real. You're not just holding some value like mindfulness or compassion in the abstract, but really making it real." Recent research from neuroscientist Emishi Jha discovered that 12 minutes of meditation, 5 days a week, can protect and strengthen your ability to pay attention. We've gone over the basic breath meditation so far, but there are other mindfulness techniques that use different focal points than the breath to anchor our attention. External objects like a sound in the room, or something broader, such as noticing spontaneous things that come into your awareness during an aimless wandering practice. But all of these practices have one thing in common. We notice that our minds are running the show a lot of the time. It's true. We think thoughts, typically, and then we act. But here are some helpful strategies to change that up. It's estimated that 95% of our behavior runs on autopilot. That's because neural networks underlie all of our habits, reducing our millions of sensory inputs per second into manageable shortcuts so we can function in this crazy world. These default brain signals are so efficient that they often cause us to relapse into old behaviors before we remember what we meant to do instead. Mindfulness is the exact opposite of these default processes. It's executive control rather than autopilot, and enables intentional actions, willpower, and decisions. But that takes practice. The more we activate the intentional brain, the stronger it gets. Every time we do something deliberate and new, we stimulate neuroplasticity, activating our gray matter, which is full of newly sprouted neurons that have not yet been groomed for autopilot brain. But here's the problem. While our intentional brain knows what is best for us, our autopilot brain causes us to shortcut our way through life. So how can we trigger ourselves to be mindful when we need it most? This is where the notion of behavior design comes in. It's a way to put your intentional brain in the driver's seat. There are 2 ways to do that. First, slowing down the autopilot brain by putting obstacles in its way. And second, removing obstacles in the path of the intentional brain so it can gain control. Shifting the balance to give your intentional brain more power takes some work, though. Here are some ways to get started. Put meditation reminders around you. If you intend to do some yoga or to meditate, put your yoga mat or your meditation cushion in the middle of your floor so you can't miss it as you walk by. Refresh your reminders regularly. Say you decide to use sticky notes to remind yourself of a new intention. That might work for about a week, but then your autopilot brain and old habits take over again. Try writing new notes to yourself. Add variety or make them funny. That way they'll stick with you longer. Create new patterns. You could try a series of if this, then that messages to create easy reminders to shift into the intentional brain. For instance, you might come up with, if office door, then deep breath, as a way to shift into mindfulness as you are about to start your workday. Or, if phone rings, take a breath before answering. Each intentional action to shift into mindfulness will strengthen your intentional brain. A basic meditation for beginners. The first thing to clarify, what we're doing here is aiming for mindfulness, not some process that magically wipes your mind clear of the countless and endless thoughts that erupt and ping constantly in our brains. We're just practicing bringing our attention to our breath, and then back to the breath when we notice our attention has wandered. Get comfortable and prepare to sit still for a few minutes. After you stop reading this, you're going to simply focus on your own natural inhaling and exhaling of breath. Focus on your breath. Where do you feel your breath most? In your belly? In your nose? Try to keep your attention on your inhale and exhale. Follow your breath for 2 minutes. Take a deep inhale, expanding your belly, and then exhale slowly, elongating the out-breath as your belly contracts. Welcome back. Begin to focus your attention on different parts of your body. You can spotlight one particular area or go through a sequence like this: toes, feet, sole, heel, top of foot, through the legs, pelvis, abdomen, lower back, upper back, chest, shoulders, arms down to the fingers, shoulders, neck, different parts of the face, and head. For each part of the body, linger for a few moments and notice the different sensations as you focus. If you experienced these sorts of distractions, and we all do, you've made an important discovery. Simply put, that's the opposite of mindfulness. It's when we live in our heads on automatic pilot, letting our thoughts go here and there, exploring, say, the future or the past, and essentially not being present in the moment. But that's where most of us live most of the time, and pretty uncomfortably, if we're being honest, right? But it doesn't have to be that way. The moment you notice that your mind has wandered, return your attention to the part of the body you last remember. We practice mindfulness so we can learn how to recognize when our minds are doing their normal everyday acrobatics, and maybe take a pause from that for just a little while so we can choose what we'd like to focus on. In a nutshell, meditation helps us have a much healthier relationship with ourselves and, by extension, with others. If you fall asleep during this body scan practice, that's okay. When you realize you've been nodding off, take a deep breath to help you reawaken and perhaps reposition your body, which will also help wake it up. When you're ready, return your attention to the part of the body you last remember focusing on. 3 guided meditations for beginners. Guided meditations are an excellent tool for beginners, as they provide a focal point and gentle instruction to help you connect and let go of self-judgment. Try this 3-part guided audio series from Mindful Editor-in-Chief Barry Boyce. How long would you like to meditate? Sometimes we only have time for a quick check-in. Sometimes we can dip in a little longer. Meditating every day helps build awareness, fosters resilience, and lowers stress. Try to make meditation a habit by practicing with these short meditations from our founding editor, Barry Boyce. Find time to cite once a day for 1 month and see what you notice. Begin to focus your attention on different parts of your body. You can spotlight one particular area or go through a sequence like this: toes, feet, sole, heel, top of foot, through the legs, pelvis, abdomen, lower back, upper back, chest, shoulders, arms down to the fingers, shoulders, neck, different parts of the face, and head. For each part of the body, linger for a few moments and notice the different sensations as you focus.